Hello, welcome back to Mark's House and Garden UK. This is my asparagus bed. I've got two different types of asparagus in there. And this is a box of free-range hen and duck eggs that my neighbours, Mark and Leslie, have just given me. In this video, I'm going to harvest some asparagus, poach an egg, and do a taste test. So you are going to witness my first ever asparagus harvest and the first time I ever eat some asparagus that I've grown for myself. I've got my outdoor hob and my asparagus pan waiting in the wings, but there is a story behind this. Let me explain. About a week ago, I accidentally left my hosepipe running on this bed, and the next morning the bed was completely soaked, really drenched with water, and I wondered if that would do it any harm. The next day, I noticed that the asparagus had suddenly started shooting new spears. I don't know what happened there. Was I underwatering it? Was the water a shock to its system? Did it possibly think that it was springtime and it was having April showers? I don't know. But the fact is, I've changed my mind on what I was going to do. And instead of harvesting them next spring, I'm going to harvest them today. So we'll have a look up close and I'll show you how to harvest asparagus. There are two different ways. There's probably several different ways, but I know of two. Then we're going to take it to my outdoor kitchen, cook it, poach an egg, and eat it. Right, let me bring the camera in so I can show you how I'm going to harvest the asparagus. Now, I planted 10 asparagus spears in this bed. 5 green ones and 5 purple ones. The purple ones are supposed to be a type of asparagus that doesn't get stringy and chewy when you cook it. And the green ones are your traditional green asparagus. Now, of the 10, 6 have survived, and happily I've got 3 green and 3 purple. Let me put this piece of card behind here so that you can see. I hope you can see that. This is the big branch which I've let grow. That's got the ferns at the top of it. And here is a brand new spear that's popped up. And right next to that, just there, is a baby spear. That one there is going to get harvested and eaten today. The green ones are a little bit more weedy, I have to say. And there's only really one green spear that I can harvest. There's one just down there, which you may be able to see just in the corner of the screen, which is just too weedy to asparagus. There's no point taking that out, so I'll probably let that grow and become a fern like its neighbour. Right, now you can buy asparagus pruning knives, but really, any sharp knife will do. And there's 2 ways of doing it. The first way is really straightforward. Just chop it off with a horizontal cut at the bottom. Another way is to go into the root deep. So if I take this one here and I'm slicing diagonally down into the root, and that removes it. So there we have 2 already. Let me see what we can come up with. I'll probably leave that one. And there's another one here. There's 3. And there's a 4th one up here which is green, so let's take that one. There's a new one coming up here. I'll leave that for another day. I can have asparagus on another day, and I'm hoping that by harvesting some of them it might stimulate it to produce more. This one's got a baby on it, but it's just too weedy. Let's take that one from up there. So I have 4 reasonable pieces of asparagus, which I shall now go and cook, poach an egg. Let's go to my outdoor kitchen. So let me show you first of all what I've assembled together on my garden table here. I've got a hob and I've got 2 pans on it. The large saucepan is for poaching the eggs in, and this is an asparagus pan. And basically it has a basket inside it. And you put your asparagus in the basket and lower it in, and it kind of boils the bottom end of the asparagus and steams the top. So it's a great way of cooking asparagus. I know you can do it in an oven or a griddle pan. So the asparagus is going to go in there. And because the asparagus takes longer, I'm going to put that in now whilst I'm poaching the eggs. So that just drops inside of there. And I shall just put the lid on. Because it's quite skinny asparagus, I think 5 to 7 minutes. Now, poaching the eggs. I've got a slotted spoon, some kitchen towel, and a pan. And the pan is just simmering away there quite nicely. Now, some people suggest that you put vinegar in. Other people say put salt and vinegar in. I never do either. This is just water. I've got a fork and spoon to eat the asparagus and some salt to sprinkle on after it's cooked. And all I do when I'm poaching eggs is give the water a good stir so that it's rotating in the pan. Then take an egg, crack it, and then lower it to the water surface and just let it gently fall into the centre. And you can see it's just sitting nicely in the centre. And I'll do 2 because these are really tiny. And we'll just drop a second one in there right next to it. You can see that they're rotating. They will probably take 2 or 3 minutes to poach. I like my eggs quite runny. So I've got the asparagus there, which has probably already been doing 2 minutes. Another 3 minutes for the eggs. So that will be 5 or 6 minutes in total. And I'm going to use the slotted spoon and the kitchen roll to soak off the water when I serve it. Now, one word of warning, because that asparagus has been growing in soil, I gave it a good wash. There's been a few scare stories in the press recently about people getting E. coli, and apparently it's coming from manure. So give anything you cut out of the garden a really good wash. I'll see you in a couple of minutes when these are nearly done, and I'll tell you how I work out whether they're cooked or not. So we're about 2 or 3 minutes later now, and I always get asked by visitors and my other half, how long do I poach my eggs for? Well, I don't put a time on it. What I do is I watch them and I look at them, and providing they look cooked, I then swirl the water around in the pan. And if they're cooked, if you're using a non-stick pan, they kind of lift off the base of the pan and float round. They're almost glued to the base of the pan until they're cooked. That's what I do. What do you do? As well as that, I just look at them just to make sure they look cooked, because I don't want any raw white in there. I quite like a runny yolk. Then I lift them out and I basically just put them on a piece of kitchen roll and invert them a couple of times so that all the water drains off. And there we have 2 nicely poached free-range eggs. And by doing that, you remove the water. We just have to get this asparagus out now without burning our fingers. So I shall lift the basket out. Yeah, that's definitely going to be cooked. I'll just place that down there. I like a bit of salt and pepper on my eggs, so let's do that. Now we just need to get this, turn those off, asparagus out of here, onto the plate, then I can sit down here and enjoy it. Out it comes. Now, I haven't got any parmesan, but you could quite easily shave some parmesan onto that. Let's just have a look at those egg yolks. Perfect. Just right. Let's see how it tastes. Well, firstly, let's get a bit of free-range egg. Absolutely delicious. Let's try a bit of the asparagus. I'll dip it in the egg yolk. I'm so happy. This is the first time I've ever grown and eaten asparagus. And And those asparagus crowns which I bought, I got 10, and they were 50p each. And they will produce asparagus for the next 20 years apparently, which is probably the rest of my life. So I'm a very happy bunny. Really great. So, how do you cook your asparagus? How do you poach your eggs? What would you serve with your asparagus as a dressing? Let me know, and I'll see you soon for some more asparagus adventures. Bye for now.